In Chinese traditional economics, labor is the first and foremost factor of production. And the nature of labor is one of mobility. This is, I think, more of the case in today's economy. So far, we have only looked at the migration very briefly. So during the rest of the lecture, we'll examine more closely the migration of population. Okay. Now, because of the dynamic nature of population, the fundamental principle underlying the problem of population is the freedom of movement. So this means that people, may either emigrate or immigrate without a permanent residence. Now, we must understand that in Confucius' time, the whole China Empire was divided into many states, as we said before, with independent army and their own political system. So, in a way, these states were independent countries. And during that time, population is the source of wealth and army forces. So, the size of population determined the power of a country. Now, because there was no restriction, strict border control, if you like, between countries, winning the people was the key to success. Therefore, democracy and the idea of putting the people first started to gain root. Now, if we read the Spring and Autumn Annal, we'll notice that there is the division of territory, but there isn't a division of people. Therefore, the oneness of the people and the freedom of movement is the fundamental principle and the way of thinking of the Spring and Autumn. Now, because of this historic backdrop, from the perspective of individual country, the inflow and outflow of the people, namely immigration and emigration of population, is a direct consequence of the quality of the governance. So when the government is good, the people immigrate, and when it is bad, let's say, they emigrate, they move out. Therefore, the net inflow of people becomes an index of the political condition of the government and the economic condition of the people. For example, when the Duke of Shi asked Confucius about the measurement of government success, Confucius used the reaction of the people as a proxy. He also divided the people into two parts for measurement purpose, namely the ones within the country and the ones from outside of the country. If the government does the job properly, domestic people would be made happy, and the foreigners would be attracted to come in. Now, in terms of population outflow, there are many causes, but by nature of this cause, we'll just focus on economic factors. Okay. In fact, economic life is very important when people decide whether to leave their home and live in a different country. Sometimes it is so important that people even risk their life to do that. Now, let me give an example. When Confucius passed by the sides of Mountain Tai, because one of the most famous mountains in China, Mountain Tai, and he saw a woman crying bitterly by a grave. So he sent Zilu, his student, to inquire. Right? The woman told them that her father-in-law, her husband, and her son were all attacked and killed by tigers on different occasions in this region. So Confucius asked, well, why don't you leave the place and live somewhere safe? The woman answered, well, there is no oppressive government here. So upon hearing this reply, Confucius told his pupils, remember this, my children, oppressive government is more terrible than tigers. So indeed, the worst thing to drive away the people is an oppressive government, especially if it touches the economic life of the people, including severe economic inequality between the ruling class and the common people, lacking of basic nourishment, and unfair taxation. So some of these problems are pure moral issues of the government. Now, similarly, economic condition also causes immigration into the country. Charles Hall described the relationship between economic interest and population inflow as follows. He said, people will like the policies of the government, admire its virtue, respect them like their parents, and follow it anywhere like water. So if the economic interest of one locality is greater than another, the people would immigrate from the latter to the former when there is no obstacle. Now, we have to, we have to come to a small but important dilemma here, right? We said that labor and population constitute the foundation of factors of production, where good economic development depends on the utilization of the factors of production. We also said that labor and human resources are attracted by good economic life. So how do we attract the labor if the economic life has not been established in the first place? Well, this leads us to consider a more important issue, which is the essence of economic attractiveness that drives immigration. So we'll talk about this in the next video.